you guys good to go?
Yeah.
Yep.
Amazing. Okay, so shoulder mobility.
That's us.
Okay, so obviously today we'll go through shoulder pain. Let me just swipe this across so I can see you guys as well. Okay, so we'll go through shoulder pain and mobility exercises. But first, I just want to chat a little bit about why we get shoulder problems. Do either of you two suffer from shoulder pain?
I do a bit, mainly when sleeping.
Mainly when sleeping. Okay, that's interesting. So shoulder pain can definitely happen when you're sleeping. One of the reasons for that is probably some micro trauma that's happening to the joint itself. And then what will happen is the inflammation will build. So then when you're lying on it and compressing it, it creates pain. And does it wake you at night as well when you're sleeping?
Sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah. Is it linked to workouts at all?
It has been, since I've been working out a bit more during the day at the moment, yes, it's been a bit worse.
Okay, especially a lot more body weight stuff as well. So it's probably a little bit more shoulder rep intensive anyway than the weights.
Very much so.
Yeah. So what we'll do is we'll chat through it. So one of the tests we're going to do for shoulders to begin with is I want you just to sit or stand or whatever and just basically try and really slouch over. So from the side view, you're really slumping your upper back like this. Okay, and then from there, you're going to try and lift your arms up above your head and just see how high you can get it without extending your back. You've got to keep slouched. Okay, and you can feel how restricted that is on your motion. You're now going to do exactly the same exercise, but this time you're going to get into really good posture. So good upright posture, shoulders back and down, and then try exactly the same thing again and see how far you get.
Are you all right?
Yeah.
Have you started?
Hey, Mark.
How you doing?
Yeah, good, cheers. How are you?
Yeah, good, thanks.
Perfect. I'm keeping you guys unmuted because it's a small group. We can just chat through, but we're doing shoulder mobility exercises today. So we're strengthening mobility. If you have it, it will need a little bit of equipment. So if you have a foam roller, that'd be amazing. If you've got one of those elasticated TheraBands,
Okay.
a tennis ball or lacrosse ball, and a broomstick, or just a broomstick
Yeah,
handle.
I've got a bit of wood similar, so that should do it. I'll get a band.
Okay, cool. We'll wait a second for you to come back, and then we'll go back to it. But could you guys feel the difference in doing that, Paul and Caroline?
No?
Do you feel the difference in your two positions?
Yeah, when you're completely upright, you can go back so much more.
Yeah, so this is one of the things. Posture has a massive impact on shoulder mobility. And often when people struggle with mobility, so if they're struggling to get past here, it's often not necessarily that their shoulder's restricted, but it's that their spine can't extend, particularly their thoracic spine and mid-back. So we'll go through some thoracic extension exercises today as well, so you can optimize that. Particularly, do you guys do any overhead movements like overhead squat, snatch, those type of things?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, a bit. But
Yeah.
we also do, obviously, when we do the Zoom, do things like
Polar bear press.
polar bear press,
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
literally the opposite way around.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, polar bear press, particularly when you're getting into that bottom area. I don't know if I could be able to get my head into this, but when you get down into that position, if you don't have good shoulder mobility, it is going to start to impinge in that area, and you'll also be limited to how much you can load your shoulders as well. So, yeah, spot on with that. All right, so yeah, that's the mechanics, and then what we're going to go through to begin with are some kind of testing movements for it. So for this one, you're going to need your broomstick handle.
What? Broom handle.
From handle. Oh, fuck's sake.
So the first one we're going to do, you guys will remember this from the mobility test. You're going to see how narrow you can get with this movement. Okay, Mark, so if you've got it, we're going to need the broomstick handle now. Okay. Let's put it on with a bit of wood. So what we're going to do is called a shoulder pass-through. Now, what you want to try and do as you're doing this is get the bar all the way back without bending your arm so it touches your back, and then back over again. So from the front view, it will look like this. Back and back over. But then what you want to try and do is come a bit narrower, okay? So you don't start at the widest position, then come narrower and just see where you're unable to do it. You want to try and keep full grip like this the whole time. Okay, so some of the common faults, if you find you're doing this and you get into here, and then suddenly you start to arch your back like this, that again is the thoracic extension problem. So when we talk about thoracic, that's the mid-back and the mid-spine, because that's not moving well enough. Or if you just generally can't do it, it's an issue. So you guys probably remember this from last time, don't you, Caroline? Paul?
Yeah.
Yeah. Good.
I've got a smaller broom thing this time.
More
Is
challenging.
that the longer one?
So I can get it all the way over, but on the way back, I do tend to bend one elbow.
Yeah, so that might be one side, particularly if it's your right side. If you're right-handed, that can be a tight shoulder over time. See how you're getting on, Mark? Yes, a little bend and slight arching at the back as well. Is that a comfortable movement or not too?
It's not painful.
Okay, that's good. That's good. So what we're going to do from here then is then try a different one. So you're going to combine the two movements. You're going to take it first of all up ahead, and then you're going to squat down into an overhead squat and see how you get on. Doing that. So from the front view, squat down and back up, and see if you keep the bar or whether it does something like this as you go forward, whether you lean forward and the bar starts to travel slightly forward. Now again, there are a number of reasons this can happen. A lot of it is hip mobility, which is why my overhead squat isn't very good. Guys? Yeah, that looks really spot on there, Caroline, as you're doing it. Let's have a look at yours, Mark. Yeah, so bar's traveling slightly forward. So you can imagine when you're getting weight on this, particularly if you've got, say, 60 kilos above your head, any slight movement from that midline is really going to limit how much weight you can take. Now, for a lot of people, like I said, it will be hip mobility, but it can also be shoulder and thoracic spine. So let's go to the first one.
This is a bit too short.
We're going to target the muscles around the top first, okay? So if you have the tennis ball, that would be perfect for this. Or the cross ball. The cross balls are even better because they're a bit further. Okay. Perfect. So I'm going to take it around the room for this. So the first one we're going to do is you're going to go to a wall, and what you're going to do is you're going to put your hand out flat against it. You're then going to try and get really close, and you're going to twist and turn away. So it looks like this and like this here, okay? And you try and get as close to the wall as you can. So this is going to be a pec stretch. You should feel it across the front. Now, there's nothing too technical about this. I just want you to get the fibers stretching before we then go and mobilize them. Okay, good. Okay, and if you swap sides. Spot on. Yeah, really good. I see you've all done that one before. Okay, just hold it for a few more seconds. Okay, Mark, you'll probably want to go swap sides there, okay? And just hold it for like 10 seconds. Doesn't need to be too intense for this. Good. Okay, you can feel it across these fibers here and partly down into the shoulder as well. So you want to get, so that's where you're now going to target it with your ball. I'm sorry, Sophie lost my lacrosse ball, so I'm now using a dog toy. Not ideal, but it still demonstrates it. So you're going to roll it around this kind of area. Now, when you find a point that hurts, you want to stay on it, okay? So you're going to go into exactly that same stretch position, except this time you're going to have the ball in here, and then the arm's going to go to the side. You're going to turn away like this, and then you're going to try and apply pressure into the wall. Okay, so I'm not just leaning back and there's nothing on the ball. You're actively trying to press it in, and then you're going to move it around, find a bit that hurts, which I've got there. Now, Caroline, just for women, you don't want to go too low so that you're on the breast tissue. So you'll want to stick to the upper portion here. So if you start going down near here, you can cause some damage. And the same thing, you don't want this to go on your collarbone. You can go just beneath it, but you don't actually want the ball on the bone. Nice work. Good. So what you can do as well, are you using your right arm there, Caroline?
Yeah.
Yeah, just maybe try and get slightly lower. That will get a slightly different tissue in it. If you try putting it straight out to the side, so no height with it. Oh, sorry, I thought you were using your other arm. That's my fault. You were doing it right. Okay, good. That looks good, Mark. It's good, Paul, too. Okay, now remember with these, you're going to spend about 30 seconds to a minute when you do this properly. Today, I have got quite a lot of stuff to go through. So when you're ready, just swap sides and go for the other side. Good. Now, this should be pretty sore if you're hitting the right spots. And what you may find is if it's not hurting and you're using a tennis ball, that's probably why. And then you want to upgrade to a lacrosse ball at some point, just to get a bit more kind of, movement through that. Great. Let's go for 10 more seconds. 5, 3, 2, 1. Perfect. Okay. So this next one is a little bit trickier, and I might have to travel around the house slightly to find somewhere you can do this. But what you're going to do, I'll go through the placement first of all, is we're going to hit the trap muscle, okay? So that's this portion of the muscle here. Now, again, you don't want to go too far forward with the ball so it's on the collarbone. You don't want to go too far back so it's hitting your shoulder blade. It's the muscle in between the two on that. And what we're going to do is get into like a rugby position. So I'll put the phone down and show you the position first, and then we'll find somewhere we can do it. Okay, so the ball's going to come in here. Ideally, if you have like a pillar or corner to the room, that's going to be, oh yeah, I can do this actually. Perfect, so something like this, where you can get it into. And then what you're going to do is get into like a rugby. Oh, sorry, you couldn't see that. Okay. So like I've got on the windows here, if you've got something like this, okay, so the ball can rest in there, and then your head can go to the side of it. Now, we'll go back to the position. Okay. So you're going to be loading up against it. You're going to go into like a rugby position, like you're in a scrum. So you're nice and low, your back's flat. You're going to get the ball into here, and then you're going to push slightly forward into it. So guys, I'll try and show you here. So it's going to be here like this. You're going to get the muscle into it, nice and low. So this is really hard to see, so you can see, so your head has to be able to go to the side, and you're driving it forward, and then this arm just stays completely relaxed. So you're pressing it into the wall. There should be some really nice trigger points around this. So I don't know if I can show you where, there we go. Probably not the most flattering angle, but that's what it's looking like, okay? So the ball is then pressing in to that area. So you have to have somewhere where there's a corner on a wall. So from the side, that's what it will look like.
Yeah.
Good, and we're just going to hold that. And you can move it slightly around, but try and find a point that really hurts. For me, I just want to go slightly further back, and again, applying pressure down onto it.
Yeah.
So, and the reason you want to be like the rugby pose is the lower you go, the more directly you're going to impact those trap muscles. The higher you are up, the least pressure you're going to have the fibers. The lower you get, the more you can drive into that ball onto the wall. How are you guys feeling that?
Yeah.
Good. Again, if you haven't yet, swap sides.
That's a very small. That's a very small.
Sorry guys, bear with me while I try and position this so you can see. That's not going to work. Let's line it up on the floor. Okay, so for the next one, we're now going to target the lat muscle. Okay, so this one here is really typically tight on a lot of people. Now, what's really important when we're going into the lat is you don't want to come too far forward onto the actual kind of ribs. That will really hurt. So you want to stay in the tissue, which is a bit further around the back here, okay? So the tissue is located there. You can feel it on yourself as you do like equivalent of a lat pull down. If you feel that muscle, that's where you want to get into. And you can get right into the back of the shoulder with this too. So what you're going to do is from a lying down position, you're going to get your tennis ball. I would definitely recommend a tennis ball on this one. Lacrosse ball is going to be too hard. You're going to get it into that trap muscle like this, okay? And you're going to press down into it. Find a point that hurts, and then you're going to slowly rock the arm forwards and backwards. And this is going to mobilize the tissue over the lats. And you can even get in some of the rotator cuff muscles, which I'll talk about a little bit later, higher up in the shoulder. And when you get the right point, this can send a pain sensation into your shoulder like I've got now. That is spot on, because that means you're really getting into that tissue that's tight. Good. So if I would say, Mark, just try and slow that down slightly, okay?
Yeah.
Hurting?
Yeah. It's a bowl. I've got a bowling ball.
And yeah. So if it's too much, you can also do it if you've got a foam roller. I don't like the foam rollers as much. You can also put that in there, and then you can roll it like this. You can try and keep your arms straight. Just going on the side of it. You can either just let it slide down like that, but you can also get this one to the same tissues, and it will do roughly the same thing, just not quite as isolated as a ball. And then good, and then if you swap sides. Good. So it's more with the arm. It's not quite an up and down motion. It's more of like an, I can show you from here. It's doing this type of movement. Okay, so it's staying in a line. It's not going in and out. It's just like that motion. Good. Okay. Good one. Paul and Caroline, I can't see you, but I assume you're doing okay with this one.
Yeah. Oh,
Okay.
that's good.
A few more goes. Yeah, you're getting that really into some good positions there, Mark. You can get it right into the shoulder as well. Yeah, good stuff. So this is one that I find is really commonly tight on people, especially when you're talking about that overhead locking out position. It will massively limit that ability for it. Okay. So then the next one we're going to do, okay, this is the last one. Have you guys heard of the rotator cuff before?
Yeah.
Yeah. They're like stabilized inside the shoulder. Now, we're going to try and target a few of these. I almost need someone else to record this. But what we're going to do is you're going to get it in to that point of your arm, okay? So it's kind of in the back of the shoulder. See it for now. And you're going to do exactly the same thing with your arm. Is you're going to drop it in and out. So just to show you the shoulder placement. A little bit clearer. Okay, so your arm's going to be there like this on the side. You want to be targeting kind of this part, so the back of the shoulder, okay? So from the side view, all around this area here. You can go a little bit further under and back, and then just dropping in and out. So this is going to directly target those rotator cuff muscles. So it's just a little bit higher up than we were doing with the lats.
Oh, I thought it was on a wall. I didn't know I was going on a wall.
Oh.
Sorry guys, you probably learned by now, when you do mine, they're a little bit painful. They're not quite as nice as Sophie's ones.
Not quite as painful as a class reject, but you know.
No, definitely not. For me, getting these soft tissues worked on is just so important. Like in an ideal world, these areas wouldn't be that tight or that painful, but because we do so much exercise, it's inevitable, unfortunately. And when they become tight over a long period of time, that will lead to injury. A little bit like you're getting at the moment, Paul, in that shoulder. So that would just be excessive tension and tightness there that's then portraying itself like that. Cool. So if you guys haven't swapped, swap over. Okay, nice one. Just last few reps there.
So if anywhere where you feel like pain or tightness, it shows it's working, even if it was in a different
yeah. So if it's not painful, kind of, that shows that area is okay. So that's how the soft tissue should feel. If suddenly it becomes really painful, obviously if it's excessively painful, you might have done more damage. So I wouldn't press on it then too hard. But if it feels like that good, like someone's massaging and really getting stuck into it pain, then that's spot on. And then you want to hold it there when you get that point for about 20 to 30 seconds. So it's quite a long hold. Like I said, we're going through it quickly today. But you can almost end up spending like 2 minutes per muscle group, depending on how many knots there are in that area. So don't be afraid to spend time. But what a lot of people do is, because when it hurts, your body's like, oh, okay, I could just go away from that. I could just go a little bit easy. You got to try and override it. So you got to try and push through that pain barrier, which is where breathing becomes really useful. So just taking deep breaths in and out, you can just cause your body to relax a little bit, and then you can tend to go through the pain a little bit better. So we're going to need this again now, okay? So you stick. We're going to take that first exercise we did and turn it into a stretch. So I love this one. It's one of my all-time favorites. So what you're going to do, you're going to go to here, and you're going to go back with perfect form as far until you feel a stretch across your chest, and you're literally just going to hold it for about 30 seconds. And the goal of this is, as you're doing it, you want to gradually, so say you start quite wide and you're as wide as it goes, you're only getting to here, that's fine. So you want to gradually get a little bit further back. Once you start getting past here, I would say then you need to go slightly narrower until it stops here again. Build it to there, slightly narrower until you get like this kind of distance. And when you hit that kind of distance and you're going there, that's really nice progress. Good. So try and keep your arms straight if you can, okay? You can bend them, but you should get more of a stretch when they're straight. Yeah, good stuff. And remember not to let that back extend. So this is perfect form, guys. You're not trying to see how far you can go. You keep your pelvis tucked. So imagine you've got a tail, that's sticking it out. That's not what we want. You want it tucked under. You can excessively do it, just at the beginning. And then that means you're not cheating at all. And all the movement's coming from your thoracic spine and your shoulder.
Right. No, it's okay. Is that you got the longer one?
Good. So remember, holding that for about 30 seconds. Another really good one, if you can. Obviously, I can't demonstrate it here. Well, imagine this is a bar. It's doing a dead hang. So you go like you're about to do a pull-up. You can vary your grip, and you literally just let your whole body relax into a hold position. And you try and hold it for, say, 2 minutes. You can break it up into 30 seconds, depending how good your grip strength is. But that will stretch out every part of your shoulder. We'll get pec, lat, rotator cuff, and it will just feel amazing. It will also help the thoracic extension or that mid-back motion as well. It's probably the best one I would actually recommend is hanging from a bar, just a dead hang for shoulder health and mobility. But what we're going to do now is some tricep work. So you're going to loop it round behind you like this now. So you're almost trying to grip your hands together. What you're then going to do, let's get here so I can do, is use the bottom hand to pull down, okay? So it's going to really extend that tricep. Now, you can do it this way as well. What I find is by doing it this way, you tend to isolate the tricep a lot better, and obviously you can give it a bit more force on that downward motion. Good. So you're really pulling that top on. I think you've probably got more range than that, Caroline. So use that bottom hand to really pull into that tricep stretch. Good. That looks good, Paul. That looks good too, Mark. Can you guys all feel that in your triceps?
Yeah.
And then if you're feeling really evil, what you can do is I normally set this up on a cat tree. I'm not going to be able to show it very well here. But if you get it across 2 bits like this, okay, if you can all see that, then what you're going to do is get your tricep onto it and then apply downward pressure onto the wood and roll it out across those areas. And for most of us, we've never done any soft tissue work on our triceps at all. This one really hurts. Good. Keep holding that for a second. And again, for this type of stretch, 30 seconds is amazing for each side. Yeah, it looks really good. And then if you want to try and improve it as well, again, try not to arch the back too much. Try and tuck that under and just isolate it purely down to your tricep movement. Okay, just a few more seconds, guys. Have you all swapped sides?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and relax down there. Now, I know I was talking as you were doing this. Did you guys get a chance to see the tricep one that I was showing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
On the back of the
So
tricep.
just wedge it over 2 areas. So lock it in, then get the tricep and literally go along the bottom. And you can go with your arm like this as well, but applying downward pressure onto it. And it's absolutely, you actually need it locked in, okay, guys? You can't hold it. It's got to be put between 2 surfaces, like this. And then you can go and then press down into it as hard as you can. You can extend out, bring it back in. It's just a horrible, horrible exercise, but it's good. Like, for me, it's probably the most painful one. So I just use my cat tree normally, just wedge it in between that, and then apply some pressure on it. But you guys can always give that one a go. Have you got anything you can wedge it between there?
Yeah, I've done. Yeah.
Probably not now, but I've got something we can find later.
Yeah, cool. So it's just one there, so you can keep it for a little bit later. So we're going to put the stick down now, and we're going to talk about thoracic extension. Have you guys come across this term before?
No, I don't think so.
I know of the term, yeah.
Yeah, so basically it's the spine from about here to here, okay? So in those positions from there to there, that's what makes up your thoracic, your mid-back region. And then extension is how well you can do this kind of motion with it. So that would be flexion, this is extension. And it's so important for overall health. If you've got a desk job, you're sitting, it's going to be really tough. But a great way, releasing it, I'm going to go through 2 exercises with the foam roller. Don't worry, if I'm going too quick for you guys, it's just going to be posted again on the group after, so you can watch it back and go through it again now. Okay, actually, let's show you this from a different position. Okay, so first one, you're going to have it lengthways, like this. You're going to lie down on it, so it's like this. Now, what you ideally want to do from this position is not have an arch in your back. So you want it flat down so it's pressing against it. And you're going to let the arms hang up, dead straight out to the side with your back fully connected top to bottom. So your whole spine is pressing on the foam roller too. Again, the neck is the only bit that shouldn't really be pressing, but from the mid-back and the lower back, the whole spine should be connected.
That's actually quite nice.
Good, and you can vary the height. Sometimes I do this with like really light hand weights as well, just something in your hand so it pins the wrist back, and then you get a really nice stretch from it. You can even potentially hold the bit of wood. That might just be enough pressure to get the wrist down, and see how you get on with that too. But you just want to get a really nice stretch. You should feel a little bit of tension through the mid back as well, which is perfect. So if you hold this for 30 seconds, guys.
I'm quite comfortable.
Oh.
This one shouldn't hurt too much. Okay, and when you're ready, relax off there.
Oh,
okay, so,
that's actually quite nice.
I think that needs to
yeah, that's one of my favorite ones to stretch out. It's just a really nice exercise. You can put a little bit of balance into it as well as you want. So what someone's trying to do is lie on it and then just have like one foot on the floor, so you get into core engagement whilst you're doing your stretch as well. And you can just try and get a bit of core activation too. But I quite like this type of exercise where you get into 2 for 1. The next one, you're going to flip it round this way now. Okay, so your bum's going to be on the floor, and this is the position. Always support your head like this. And then from here, what we're going to do is work. You never want to go into the low back where it's arching. So you never want to go down into this portion of your spine, okay? You always want to stay in the upper back. So that's about the same. So where the ribs begin, that's where you want this to start. Hands behind your head. Then what you got to do is let your back arch over, not letting your head just release. Okay, so you want to hold your head, be letting it lean back, and come back up again after a minute. You then roll up one segment, arms back, back again. And if you breathe, you should be able to relax into it. Come back, go another segment. Just let your back just relax and arch over it. Okay, and the really important thing is keeping your bum on the floor. If you let the bum lift, you're going to lose all that force through the mid-back and the mid-spine. Good. So you can really take your time with this one and just go literally one at a time, all the way up to kind of the base of the neck where you kind of the top of your shoulder blades are. And the other thing that's really nice, this one too, say your muscles are really tight in your mid-back, you can go in the same position and just literally roll nice and slowly up and down, this time with your bum off the floor. And then you'll start to press on the muscles a little bit too. Yeah, it just feels really nice and it can work those back muscles. Nice. How are you guys finding that?
Oh, nice. That's all right, that one is. That's not too painful.
No, this one shouldn't actually hurt, okay? That's a really important point. If you're trying to push it too far and you're really forcing it and you cause some pain, that's not actually good for your spine. So anytime we do spine, bone type things, just always go where it's comfortable. Never push it into pain. So what we're then going to do is a bit more of a manual one. Now, I really like this with the foam roller, but you can do it on a higher surface. You're going to put your wrists on it like this. And then let me go so you guys can see. So wrists on it, palms facing up like that. And what you're going to do is basically try and keep your bum in the air and drop your arms down into it like this. You try and let your mid back and your chest touch the floor. And you should get a really nice stretch for your lats, all the other areas with this too. And because the foam roller is slightly rolling away, you've got to try and keep a bit of tension. As you do it. Okay. How you finding that?
Yeah.
Good, that is good, Mark. And then just hold it at that end point. Fantastic. Now, you don't want to hold this one for too long or push it too hard, because it's quite an intense stretch. Good. So I would say, like you're doing it, maybe 5 times going down, holding it for 5 seconds, coming back up. As your spine starts to move a little more, you can take it a bit further. But you can do it on any kind of surface. So you've got like a sofa, same thing, just arms will be straight out like this, and then you'll still be dropping down into it through your chest. Okay, so you can use any surface you want. You can literally use the floor if you've got nothing else. It will all mobilize that part of the spine. Cool. Okay. Now, if you guys want to come back up from there, the next one we're going to do, you would have definitely done this one before. But this is a really healthy one for rotation. Where's going to be the best place to show you this? Okay. So from here, what you're going to do is it's called threading a needle. So you're going to take your arm, you're going to go through underneath, so your shoulder touches down. If you only get to about here, that's fine. If you can get all the way down, it's great. Your low back might click like mine just did. So you're going to drop in. You're then going to come up and take the arm all the way up as well. Okay, and then you're going to drop down. Hold it for a few seconds, back up. Twist and rotate to the sky. So on this side, it will look like this. And then twisting and rotating up. Down again, roll down as you can. Keep it twisting, rotating up. And the goal is to keep your spine straight as you're doing this. You don't want to be rounding it like this too much to get down. You want to try and keep it straight and extended. If this is a really good one to do before a workout as well. So if you're doing it after a workout, I'd slow it down and maybe hold it for about 5-6 seconds at the bottom. Hold it for 5-6 seconds at the top. If you're doing it for a warm-up, I'd do it kind of at the speed you're going now, Mark. So it's just a second at the bottom and then a second at the top. And that'll get your spine nice and warmed up for exercise. Perfect. Okay, so just try and do maybe 5-6 reps on each side and then swap. Nice one. Cool, you guys all done there?
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, so that's all the stretching mobility side of it. Okay, so that's all I do to mobilize and stretch my upper part of my body. You should have virtually everything encompassed in that, so there shouldn't be too many more stretches you need to do. Obviously, if you want to add in a few wrist and bicep stretches, by all means, you can do that as well. There's some really good ones there too, but just for the shoulder joint, that should be everything you need. So we're going to go on to strengthening now. So you will need the TheraBand for this. Now, the whole goal of strengthening is what a lot of people can get is they can get really strong muscles, but the rotator cuffs, so those stabilizing muscles, don't often keep up with it. So then eventually when they get too high in a weight, something might happen where the shoulder just gives way. It just becomes painful and sore because there's too much pressure on it. So these are really boring exercises, but they're amazing at supporting your shoulder, stabilizing it, and it just reduces your chance of injury by miles. So we're going to start off, we're going to do one for the neck, one for your rotator cuff, and then one for your shoulder blade as well, so you get some good positioning there too. So if we take the band to begin with, okay, and what you're going to do is you're going to grab it at a fairly good resistance. You're going to lock your shoulder blade back and down. Now, this is a really good motion to get used to. Lock it back and down without arching your back, so keeping that tail locks under, back and down. And what you're going to do is slowly pull it into your chest and let it relax out. If pulling your shoulders back and down is quite a new concept to you, what I suggest is before you do every rep, shoulders back and down, pull it to your chest, let it go back, relax, and then do the whole process again. So shoulders back and down, pull it to the chest, and then when you get better, they'll just lock there, and you can just push the reps out. And obviously, the closer you go with your band, the harder the exercise becomes.
My bands are no good. They're too strong.
Yeah, so unfortunately, if you got this one, which band have you got? If I have a quick look,
I can hardly move them. They're really brittle.
Oh man, you got a blue one as well. Yeah, so that's unfortunately these are for TheraBands. Those are the huge ones. What you can do with those ones though is say you hold it really wide, you can still get like an isometric stretch.
Yeah, and just hold it.
Yeah, and just hold it, shoulders back and down, and just hold it there. And just do small movement, just hold it at end point. But without, it's not a hard exercise. This one, it's activation. Now, Carolyn, what I would say with yours, I don't know if you're having the same problem. But what like is your arms want to go out straight, okay, so there's no bend in them at all. So as you're pulling it from here to here, you're not using it. If you bend them, you're going to start recuperating some of the wrong muscle groups. Yeah, perfect. Sorry about the bands you guys have got for this one. Then all you're then going to do is make it even harder. You're going to take it up overhead like this, and then you're going to pull it down behind your back, but still trying to keep your shoulders locked back and down. Again, arms are staying like this. You can get a little kind of W pattern. There's no problem of ending up in this position for this one because it's still really good shoulders back and down. So you can end up there. It's no problem. If you really struggle with your mobility, you can pull it to your front, but you should be able to drop it behind your head. Good. So what I'd say for yours, Mark, just try and end up in that W position, okay? I think that'd be a good one for you guys to start with. So from here, and just get to that W, okay? Because then you should really feel those shoulder blades pulling back and down. And that's ideally where you want to feel this one, is between the shoulder blades at the base of them and the back. So roughly about here, maybe slightly higher on the back. So where those shoulder blades are compressing back and down. So you want to feel it. Okay, perfect. So again, with this, you want to hit about a 10 rep range when you first start. But when you get the actual like TheraBands, I mean, these are so cheap to get online too. You can start going for like 15, 20, 30 rep ranges on these, depending how strong your rotator cuff gets. Final one, it's even better if you got something like a towel rolled up or anything you can put under your elbow. So you have to grip like this. It just really activates the muscles better. So ideally you do it on both sides. I can use my shoes actually for this. You've got something underneath that you can just apply a bit of pressure to. So if you're not locking your elbows in, it falls out. That's the only real purpose for it. So you lock it in. You're going to go under grip with your hands like this, shoulders back and down, and you're just going to pull it out to the side. Again, you should feel this one behind the shoulder here. That's ideally where you're looking for this. And maybe a little bit at the base of your shoulder blades as well.
Yeah.
I've done the softer band for that one.
Yeah, sorry guys, with those bands, it's going to be quite tough. Like that, it's going to whack up really quickly.
Small ones.
You got to say.
We got some small Pilates ones.
Yeah, the Pilates ones are perfect. Okay. Cool. All right then. So next one we're going to do, and this one's if you struggle to pull your shoulder blades back and down, this is then a really good one to do, okay? They're called window cleaners. Let me see what I can get. I might just have to hold this one at a distance. But what you're going to do is you're going to go, I mean, you can use a window, it's optional, is pull your shoulders back and down, and you're going to act like you're cleaning a window. You've got to keep your shoulder blade pinned back. So if it's not pinned back, you'll be able to move it like this. It'll be really easy. If it's locked back and down, so in that position, the movement will become really hard. And what will happen is if you try and do bigger movements, you'll feel your scapular shoulder blade try and peel away from your back. So start by locking it, yeah, and then just really small movements just to get that scapular shoulder blade control. And as you get better, like for me, that's my limit on how far I can rotate it before I would then have to let go of that muscle activation and use it.
Shoulder back.
Yeah, so
Here.
shoulders back and down like this, okay? So that's your normal position. It will be back and down and then holding that position. So don't let it up. It should feel like a constant pressure down. You should be able to feel it there. And you'll know when you're doing it right because it will be hard to do circles. If it's easy doing the circles, you're definitely not activating them. Hard to do big circles anyway. Cool, so that's window cleaners that you can do. Really good ones for getting that activation going. A lot of people I see have really poor activation of it. Now, this is going to be the last one, guys, and this is probably the one that looks the most ridiculous, but it's called chin tucks. I'll go into here for this one. So, for chin tucks, what you ideally want to do is get into a nice upright position, and then what it's all about is the inward motion. So, inward motion. So you're going to make it so you get, I say, as many double chins as possible. So you're going to pull in like this, hold it for a couple of seconds, and let it relax out. Then pull in, let it relax out. Pull in. Now, the common faults that I see with this, some people chicken neck. You can do it standing, by the way. I'm just doing it kneeling because of the camera. So don't worry, if you want to do it standing, that's fine. But what most people do is they chicken neck it. So they'll go like this. And that's very bad for your neck to do that. So ideally, it's just focusing on that backward motion. So lock your shoulders back and down, pull it in, hold it, relax. The other thing I see people doing wrong is they don't keep their head in neutral. So try and keep your eyes looking forward. If you do it like this or like this, it's going to be hitting different muscle groups, okay? So the goal for this is in a neutral position, pull it back, get the double chin, hold it, relax. Now, a good way, if you've got someone to test you on this, you can test really quickly if you've got good muscles here. So, when you lie down, if someone was to say, look at your toes, and you do it like this with your whole head, like lifted up off the floor, that's not a very good way of looking at your toes. But if you do it like this, you pull your chin into that position, and you can do it. And you can hold this relatively easy without shaking, and you've got pretty good strength in your neck, in the correct muscles. It's like this, and your legs doing something like this and shaking. That's not ideal. So it's a really nice test to see if you've got the correct movement there. So I'd recommend trying it. And again, this one is actually linked with headaches, migraines, neck pain. If you've got a poor balance of your neck because you've got these weak muscles that pull it in, it can cause a lot of issues, even jaw problems it's been linked to. So guys, if you're giving that one a go with your chin tucks,
yeah.
How did you find them?
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Perfect. So that is everything that I had for shoulder mobility and rehab. I used to do this routine about 2 times a week, 3 times a week. And I found it helped my shoulders a lot. I used to get a lot of injuries. And this really rehabbed them nicely. And now I don't really get any pain in my shoulders at all. And I used to get pain sleeping like you as well, Paul, particularly my left shoulder actually for that one. And again, these exercises really helped loosen my spine up, get everything moving better, and yeah, keep everything going the way it should be. So do you guys have any questions about any of those exercises? Anything else you want to know specifically about the shoulder?
Not I can think of. No.
That's pretty good.
Are you going to post?
Perfect.
Did you say
is there anything you guys would want to go through next? Oh, sorry, what was that, Mark?
Sorry, did you say you were going to post the video?
Yeah, so James is recording it. So he does all of that because he's the guy in charge of all this. So he's been posting all of them onto the YouTube channel that he's got and onto the group too. So yes, hopefully he'll be posting it unless he has some issues. If he does have some issues though, what I'll do is I'll record it all again. Just me demonstrating each exercise, and I'll post that up, okay, if he hasn't got it. So don't worry, one way or another, I'll put the routine up for you guys.
Thanks, Chris.
Perfect. Excellent, guys. All right, so next week we'll focus on a few different areas, but it's normally Monday, Wednesday at 6:45 that myself and Sophie do it. But I'll see you guys all then. Thank you for joining us.
Bye.
See you later. Cheers. Have a good Easter too.
You too.
Have a good weekend.
Cheers, bye.
I'm cold.